Welcome to this video of me in a different time and space talking to myself in an empty house. I will be offering tarot readings on my channel. This is my first video that I have the intention that this could be shared, so it's a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to do my best. Oh, King of Cups and King of Swords coming out next to each other. To stay in my active energy. So there's my kings. Channel the kings within me and not feel all of the self-imprisoning beliefs that have made me sort of afraid to speak about this wonderful tool. So I think for my first video, I might just explain a little bit of how the cards work and just divination in general. And I do believe in, let's say, darkness, right? And only because I believe so fully in lightness that you have to believe in the polarity. As of right now, where we are in time and space, we have both light and dark. Who knows what's to come? But when it comes to tools of divination, there has been a shadow cast, let's just say, on many things, just depending on the intersectional spectrum, the placement that you're at. So everybody, you can just imagine this grid of beings that are on the planet, and they are standing in their physical body, but above them is an eye cloud of all of their potentials and wonderful everything that connects them to the even greater eye cloud, let's just say, of all that is. So everything ever, and it is a term I've heard and identify with is the Akash, but there's ways to express that in many cultures, many spiritual practices that are saying essentially the same thing. So we distill from that into our physical bodies, but let's just say there's blocks, right? And those blocks that keep you from all this potential are usually what your brain has learned and decided based off of previous experiences of your human experience. That's super important and super great thing, because especially as human beings are evolved, they're like, oh, I ate this berry and died, so that's not a good example actually, because you don't remember. You go on to the next one. I poked a bear and it scratched my face, I'm not going to poke a bear again, right? So that's really important for the mind to not, to learn things and create these grooves and patterns. But we do have to also realize that we do most of our developing from age 1 to 7. And I don't know about you, but I wasn't my smartest, brightest maybe at 1 to 7, probably my most creative. But fear can definitely be a product of our own creativity. So I have to say that to explain how tarot cards work. So what I'm doing as a practitioner, it's more as if you can imagine that what I'm trying to do is empty and connect with that great eye cloud above. And I'm trying to sort of recognize my humanness and come to know that I have my own blocks and my own personality. And that I want to put all aside, especially when I'm working with a client, especially if it's one-on-one. When I'm doing collective readings, oftentimes I see my own experience mirrored because I am in the collective, right? So we have our own individual beam that's connected, and then those beams are light and magnetic and attract what a lot of people call soul tribe. So if I'm doing a reading for my collective or my soul tribe, which I include whoever sees this whenever they need to see it, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing, this is a very selfless thing because it's weird as heck. And if I didn't feel divinely guided, I wouldn't do it, because it's easier to stay comfortable and stay in your shadows, right? So yeah, so oftentimes when I'm doing collective reading, I will, see, oh, this is actually in my life too, but it's definitely when it's one-on-one, I'm trying to put that aside. And I think that's most healers and most practices adopt this sort of concept of clearing the vessel and bringing forth what wants to come forth. So that's my point of doing tarot. To make sure that I'm putting my personality aside, and to also make sure that I am not opening myself up to what would not be serving me or the collective, because I am aware of darkness. Oftentimes I don't do tarot without meditating. Some days that can be as quick as 3 deep sacred breaths. Sometimes it's 4 hours of who knows what, but I know what and God knows what, but so yeah, that is sort of the process, and I'm always honored when somebody wants to receive the the gift of wisdom that the tarot offers, and even more honored when somebody wants me to be the channel for it. But in no way am I wanting to take credit, which includes the responsibility. I don't necessarily even want the responsibility of what is going to come out, because one, my personality evolves. So if I'm going to be putting these out online, then it's sort of also like in a good way, an accountability, right? I don't want to ever be guiding somebody astray. And so that's another reason that I am putting these out, is because I want more community based around these spiritual practices, and I want more, friends, but more, it actually grounds this. It grounds this energy for me. So doing these kinds of things puts you in your air element and your ether, and that's great. But my myelin sheath in my body, everything, so around on the edges of all your nerves, you have this like bubble, sort of, that protects them. And I think sometimes like channeling in a lot of light it's vibrating really fast, like a lightning bolt, or fire is a really fast molecule, so it burns through things. So light is the fastest, and my nerve receptors are trying to pick up all these, and I think sometimes they can overwhelm. So tell me if you agree, if you ever experienced that, where you're like, I think I went a little too far in space. And so we have to be kind to ourselves and be kind and nourishing to our nervous systems. And so this for me is nourishing, because it connects me, it grounds me to the earth, to my community, and that's all I could ask for. So that's a lot said for a silly tarot reading, but especially in the beginning, I just want to kind of get sort of where I'm coming from out there, so it's there. So I will take 3 sacred breaths to transition out of my personality. And if you want to do that with me, feel free. 3 sacred breaths. So you're just inhaling with the front of the body, exhaling down the back, and we do 3, because there's a lot of magic to the number 3, the Trinity, or just it's sacred in a lot of patterns. But ending on an odd number or ending on the exhale means we're open to receive next. So for the collective, what is the major theme? What messages just want to come through and be known? It is the beginning of June, so let's just check into the energy of June 2022 at the moment, but messages are timeless. So, swift action to the left. So that tells me this card coming out, card 8 of Pentacles, shoots out to the left. So we are swiftly moving into the Mother archetype, the energy of the planet, grounding. So that makes sense, because it was sort of on my mind in the beginning of this. We, as a collective, have all these ideas, which is usually the feminine energy, when you're not necessarily acting on something, but you're planning and you're creating and you're receiving. and the emotional and mental bodies. So we want to take that down to the physical body of existence, which takes work. So the Seven of Pentacles, yes, let's do this. Let's ground down, bring these ideas into reality. So for the month of June, that's sort of the theme. Supporting us is the Magician. The Magician is a very sacred card that is the alchemist, and so it can really get things done. And so whatever those ideas that have been floating around in your heart and your mind's eye, great timing for you to actually put in those steps to do them. So I think there's a Virgo full moon, so that's a time to like write lists and check them off. And making yourself a priority is the best way to do that. And that can be really hard, especially for empathic people. And mind you, if you're watching this, you're probably a rainbow or black sheep in your family. So it cannot always be natural to have yourself be at the top of your own list. But that amount of self-worth and self-love is what it takes to ground your great and wonderful ideas, because here the alchemist and spirit wants to bring these down to the earth with you, because they've been put in you for a reason and a purpose. No desire is useless or doesn't have a purpose, even if that desire is to help you learn how to transcend and heal, and maybe it wasn't the most wise desire. Nonetheless, they're all in us for a reason. So that's what we have for the month of June. So we get to ground down. So I'm feeling that's, sort of the beginning of the time. We're sort of in this idea space, but I feel a quick movement at the end. But let's just see what's going on in the beginning, or in the beginning to middle of June. King of Pentacles. Okay, so that actually really works, because the King of Pentacles is the Earth King. The Pentacles represent oftentimes also so earthly things, but money. And in order for us to create and bring these wonderful ideas to the earth plane, it can sometimes take resources. And this card, the message I'm feeling from this card, one is if you want to heal your relationship to your root chakra, but money, and come into this King of Pentacles energy where he is grounded. He's not the king that talks as much. He's the king that he gets it done, and is very able to see something through. So taking a step back from all of our thoughts in the beginning of the week will also help us get here, because it's sort of like that lion space of the herd where he's looking out over the plains and looking for potential dangers, but he knows the outcome. He knows where he's leading his pack. So you need to be like that with your own ideas. So you make your list. You do what you need to do to clear blocks or beliefs that you're not good enough to achieve. But then you get it done, and you don't let anything stop you, because you have the higher awareness that what you're doing has purpose. So King of Pentacles mid-month, that's really wonderful. So let's see what's happening towards like middle end of June here. The Moon. Okay, that's really wonderful to come into after the King of Pentacles, because sometimes working hard and making lots of lists can be hard work. So the Moon is this card of receptivity, a feminine energy as well. So we have this nice balance. The Moon also says, though, you can go into the emotions, but I feel nothing but a lifting and positivity. So it's sort of this energy of reaping in the harvest on an emotional level of yay, I have these accomplishments. I brought them down to earth. Now you're being absolutely divinely guided to clear your solar plexus. Jeez. So solar always makes sense. Mind, body, soul. Solar plexus clearing is often a burp, but because it's down in the belly space, but willpower, your light is in your solar plexus. So we get to clear out our willpower, and because we use our willpower, and reap in the wonderful receptivity of feeling good and nurtured, and like we did something for ourselves, so we can reward ourselves a little bit with quiet time, with peace, with tranquility, and feeling like you can go back into your emotions, because he's not the emotional king. The King of Cups he kind of grinds, but the moon says, just like the moon, go into the mystery, but go there with peace. So at the end of the month, what's going on? The Chariot. Also, really wild to have the Magician, the Moon, and the Chariot when we only have, I can't do math, 5 cards, because these are all major arcana. So it's like, if you don't know, in a deck of playing cards, there's a rarity to having an ace. So that's kind of how the majors are. And so when we're leaving something up to divinity, we're leaving something up to fate and faith. It's fun to have synchronicities and to have, rarities. And so that is even more of a sign that we are being divinely uplifted and guided to bring spirit to matter, because there's a beautiful support in the cards here. So the Chariot can be in the ethereal realm. So the Chariot doesn't always mean like so you can look at the card. It's an arrival. It's an arrival of a manifestation. It's an arrival of a wish fulfillment. So that could be whatever's going on in your life, whatever's been resonating from my words. So if these concepts have been making you think about a new job, a new adventure, a new love, or a new project, it doesn't necessarily have to be one thing for everybody. That's the thing about collective readings versus one-on-ones. So apply this to your situation. But whatever has been on your heart and feeling more heart space energy, that is coming through at the end of the month. And it is coming in on the Chariot. So it has flaming wheels. It is coming from a space of miracles, and it is beyond your wildest dreams. So there's purpose to you going into your physical existence and planting all these seeds and bringing them to life, because it gets you actually out of your emotional existence and your mental body. And sometimes that's the step that it takes to move forward without, like I was saying in the beginning, our blocks. Because those blocks of our personalities are usually coming from a space of lack. And if we keep focusing on what we want, and you're also combining it and sending it out into the universe with thoughts of, I'm not, subconsciously or not, you don't feel like you're good enough to receive the gifts that the divine wants to bring you, then they're not going to be able to come through, right? We're swimming in this portal of infinite potential, trying to come down, trying to ground itself in the earth. But you are the receptive vessel, the moon, to bring it down. So the Chariot is telling us it is coming, but if you are holding on to ideas of what you think your life is supposed to look like, you are setting yourself up short, not for failure. It's coming, but it could be even beyond your wildest dreams. And that is the message in this card. It is not to expect or to pre-plan on God. Plan your own life. Take the action steps. Go do the things that you don't want to do. That's chores, that's cleaning, that's meetings. But do not limit the potential for miracles in your life. So that is the reading for today. I'll pull one more card just for the overall theme in the physical body of existence. What is just the most... I'll hear what it is, but just the last little message that the divine wants to give the community for June 2022. What is the message? Mariposa. So butterfly energy, transform. You have the power to change everything by being still. Going into the cocoon where you become almost nothing is the beginning of the week. You're in your ideas, but it's so still. The alchemy in the cocoon transforms you on a cellular level, a structural level. And that's what happens when we alchemize our ideas into reality. You get an entire upgrade of your basically the matrix of your body is just as much as your physical life. So that's why I want, like, the inside only. So what happens in your internal world, it reflects on the external world. The external world is second. You change what's inside, and that will reflect in the manifestation of your outward reality. When we look at our outward reality first to depict what's going on in the inside, when the inside is first, because spirit turns into matter, matter is denser, it's slower, then we are setting ourselves up. That's how we are setting ourselves up for not the highest potential for miracles. When we are looking externally for what's going on to tell us what's going on. So the theme is go into that chrysalis, go into the cocoon. And when you come out of the cocoon, you have to keep your eyes on the horizon, because it's greater than what you might see. But you have shifted and alchemized in that space everything. So prepare for that fast chariot energy of arrival to come through, because you've done the work and you're holding on to faith that blessings are what's inevitable. Miracles are normal. So one final card. Queen of Swords. What a beautiful balance. So make those decisions. Cut cords with old beliefs of the past. Be disciplined in what you're doing. Feel as if you can speak your sword of truth. Do it from the energy of the feminine. The energy from spirit is the feminine energy. It's also masculine energy because everything flips and inverts, but it's a conversation for another day. Tell me in the comments if you want to know more. Thank you for taking this time with me. If you want more of these, the only way that will ever happen is if I get likes and comments. That's the embarrassing truth of how this works. If you want a one-on-one, please reach out. It gets way more specific. Yeah, take care.